twilight. My lover is steady, and he tells me be still and take a deep breath. He's hoping I will, but my mind keeps on racing till I'm far out of sight, at the end of the road, on the threshold of night. And there's nothing like being alone at twilight. The ocean and I each approaching high tide, held aloft on the waves of my pride. I'm better off walking alone at twilight. Well, the sun's gone down and the twilight is past, and that magic hour, it never lasts. It's a long strand of pearls, one that I'll never own, and the answers I seek are the smallest of stones. So I work till I'm tired, then I lay down to rest, and that takes just a bit of this weight off my chest. But the years stretch before me, I admit that it's true. This restless pursuit is what I'm called to do. And there's nothing like being alone at twilight. The ocean and I each approaching high tide, held aloft on the waves of my pride. I'm better off walking alone. Yeah, I hate to leave being alone at twilight.
Career to come there
Hey, everybody.
Hi. How y'all doing?
Welcome to another episode of Inside Live with your friends, Alice and Freebo.
It's great to be back. We weren't here last week because of the inauguration. Everything went well. No violence, smooth transition, and so all is well in
So
America.
we took the week off for nothing.
No, it was a celebration.
It's true.
Anyway, it's good to be back. Glad you're with us, and we got an amazing show tonight.
Can't wait to share our special guest, David Amram, but I'm going to start off with a song.
That's a good idea.
All right. I walked out in a storm the other night. I walked out into the river as it raged above its banks the other night. I was sure the current would part around my waist, but I reached out for your hand. I admit I was afraid. Strong swimmer though I know myself. Every whisper of the waves upon the shore that tells me so. Hey, darling, you've been away so long. Hey, darling, hey. Been away so long. See how the trees have grown since you've been gone. Since you've been gone. Thank you all.
Beautiful, Alice.
Oh, thanks for all your comments coming in. Hi, John, Toby, Michael Jokum. So
Michael.
glad you're watching. Hey, Jason.
Yeah.
Thanks for sending in your comments, guys. We love seeing them and makes us smile.
And Michael, glad you're well enough to be watching us and be coaching. And I know you're still on your back, but everybody I know and all the people on your site and your Facebook are wishing you the best.
Sending you love and quick recovery, Michael.
Yeah.
Well, we're seeing the beautiful, almost full moon come up out the window out there
tomorrow
here
night, right?
In Los Angeles, and we're so excited to welcome our guest who is in New York. Should we tell him a little bit about David Amram?
Well,
where do you even start with this man?
David is pretty amazing. I mean, to me, and I'll say this more than once, what's amazing about David is he's a regular guy. I ran into him for the first time, I think at Kerrville. I don't know if it was Kerrville or Folk Alliance, but David is 90 years young. He is my hero, Alice, and I want to be like David when I grow up. I know he says he wants to be like me when he grows up, but David, you're already grown up.
I want to say one more thing also. His bio says that he is still a promising young composer.
Well, he is.
And I love that. And I'm so excited to welcome David Amram.
David.
Well, thank you. I just want to say, first of all, what a breath of fresh air just to hear you and Freebo do that beautiful, beautiful music. And here in Beacon, New York, where it's snowing and cold and gloomy, you warmed up the whole county.
Thank you. Thank you, Dave.
For anybody that's watching, stay being creative. And when you're told by your career counselors you're too old, remind them you're only as old as you make other people feel, and the premature expiration is highly overrated. So just keep on picking.
I love that.
You know, the expiration dates don't mean anything anyway. You could just ignore
that was just beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Glad
And
you
when
liked
it's
it.
all said and done, the simple, beautiful, fundamental human things that create music all over the world and always did and always will still be with us. So Lester Young, the great saxophone player, encouraged everyone, tell your story. And that's what you guys are doing. And same thing with Freebo, master of the bass, and after 50 years of making everyone else sound good, he could still do that. But now he's sounding good with his own terrific songs, and I can hardly wait to hear those.
Oh, thank you, David.
Thank
you.
you.
Well, and what you said about music, it's so true. I think maybe it's ego, but it is a way we can help make ourselves immortal. I mean, Beethoven's still very much alive to me, as is, Miles Davis and Lester Young and all these people. And it's nice to know that we can leave something behind that really is a piece of our person, our spirit, right?
And absolutely. And just remind the naysayers that the Lascaux cave paintings done 25,000 years ago, people pay to go all the way to southern France. They pay to go into the caves, and no one, to our knowledge, has ever asked for a refund. Beautiful. Stays beautiful.
And they speak to us through time. That's what's so amazing about art and music. And actually, I wrote in my newsletter this past week, just having watched the inauguration, and that beautiful Amanda Gorman, her poem that just everyone was so captivated by with such good reason. She was just stunning, and the artist that performed and the music that was kind of woven in and out of the ceremonies and then the concert that evening. And I was just struck again how, as I have been many times, that art and music is really what brings that, like, the work that we must do to have our civil society. It's like the left brain stuff, and then the art and the music and the words and the poetry make it all like tolerable. It's like how we actually have an emotional connection with each other through that. And it's this channel, and it's like, it just makes me so proud every time that I practice that form of expression, that music is my language, because I just think it's such a gift to be able to express oneself that way, because other people can just sink their teeth into it in a different way.
Mm-hmm. Well, in an emotional way that only music can do, right, David?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was so incredible. And also having Garth Brooks, who sold millions of records and is a big-time Republican, come out there and just do such a soulful version of Amazing Grace and be so polite to everybody and remind people that humanness is what it's about, not left or right wing. Pete Seeger said, for the bird to fly successfully, the left and the right wing have to be in harmony. And Brooks was there, and Jennifer Lopez singing a Woody Guthrie song, and then that wonderful young poet. I mean, how good can it get? That transcended politics. That showed that we can still love ourselves. We can still love America for the beauty part, and for everything else. That's why we have so many landfills. And what we're doing is not designed to go down the sewer.
Our work is
before it's done.
biodegradable.
Yep. We're trying to do music that's from the heart, purity of intent that's built to last.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amen.
Hey, how about Lady Gaga with a beautiful, soulful version of the Star Spangled Banner? I mean, she
terrific.
didn't overdo it. She didn't underdo it. Just gorgeous, I thought.
The whole evening was just splendid.
Yeah. Hey, I wonder if David would start us off with a song. Would you be willing to play us something?
Sure. Well, actually, I got my one request, which is usually knock it off, please, it's getting late. But in this case, Freebo, and you can't turn down a Freebo request. This was
Thank you.
the most wonderful song. And when I heard it, I was listening with Jack Kerouac and Richie Havens in Greenwich Village in the summer of love. 1967, we were all informed there was no more Beat Generation, there was no more hippies. It was now the summer of love. So you better change your costumes and get down with the get down. And Richie said, you know, man, I never saw so many angry-looking people in the village in my life because no one knows what they're supposed to wear. And then we heard this song on the radio, and after being told don't trust anybody over 30, and Richie said, man, we're all over 30. Jack, you're almost 50. Dave, you're almost 40, and I'm in my almost 30. If a 75-year-old man can sing such a simple song, maybe it is, was, and will always be a wonderful world. I see fields of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, bright blessed days and the dark sacred nights. And I think to myself, what wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people walking by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? But what they're really saying is, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what wonderful world. colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, reflecting on the faces of the people walking by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? But what they're really saying is, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself each and every day. And since we got a long program in a short time, I just want to say that if you listen to Freebo and Allison play, you'll know that you and every single person on earth has got something to say. So if you like the inspiration in the winds of chance and hope as the sails of your joys are unfurled, just remember it was, it will always be a wonderful world.
Woo! David Amram, beautiful.
Fantastic. Wow, that was somewhere between Louis Armstrong, Tony Bennett, and David Amram. I loved it.
Well, you know, it's all just a question, really. Someone that played bebop all their life and jazz and loves folk music of the world and loves playing with you, Freebo, and hearing you and Allison at the Folk Alliance and all the sincere musics from the heart. We're just all part of that. So whether I'm writing a symphony or playing an Attica prison or conducting at Carnegie Hall, and I've done all three of them, it's all the same thing, trying to do something beautiful at the moment and honoring those who came before us that showed us that we could dare to search to do it as well as we could.
Beautifully put, David. And I might add to that many a night at Folk Alliance and at Kerrville was I up till 4 or 5 in the morning with you as we're jamming, into the morning light, and you just not only holding your own, but just so enthusiastic, and whatever instrument you had on hand, whether it was some sort of a hand drum or the penny whistles, you're doing it. And what I love about you, man, and so I'm not patronizing. I mean, I truly love you, but what I really love about you is that your humanity is so equal. It's without ego. It doesn't matter whether you're at Carnegie Hall or Kerrville or Folk Alliance or in somebody's living room. You're just a humble guy, and you love what you do, and you're grateful for it, and you're such an inspiration, really.
Well, thank you. Well, you know something, Freebo? I've got plenty to be humble about, because, man, I knew and know some great cats and kitties who were just so fantastic that it's a blessing to be on the same planet with them and to know that we're just all here when and while we're here to serve a higher power, a higher force known as music.
Oh, yeah. Hey, David, would you maybe share with us a little bit of your time back in that time with Jack Kerouac and Dizzy Gillespie and that time back when bebop was happening and you were a part of it, playing jazz French horn of all things? I mean, that's pretty darn unusual.
Well, essentially, when I was with Charles Mingus in 1955, my third week in New York, a big hayseed, lucky enough to stagger into that. Jack's work hadn't been published, but Mingus had already played with some wonderful poets in San Francisco. And so many of the musicians and painters and poets and bartenders and waitresses and anybody that came by was interested in what other people were doing. And everyone, more or less, if you could say please and thank you, those were all the credentials you needed to enroll in what I call the University of Hangoutology, which was just to be there, and you could absorb, if you paid attention, all the beauty that surrounds us. And that's what that time was about. It was just amazing. And this is what this time is about. And seeing that 22-year-old poet showed there's a whole new generation of people who are doing what they've got to do their own way. So our gig is not to be whining old blameologists and say, the good old days, because the good old days are now. Charlie Parker in 1945 said, now's the time. That will always be the truth. So our responsibility is to pass some of that was bequeathed upon us on to other people, not to copy that or form some network or fashion of the month, just to do something beautiful, to tell your story, to be for real. That's what I learned from all the masters that I was with, not only in jazz and folk music, but in symphony music, in acting, in the theater, and everything, just to be around what was keeping it for real. And it's not that hard to do. It's much more satisfying, and you have a much happier life as a result of being that way, because the people you work with, you're close to the rest of your life. And if you could buy that, every person of means would be deliriously happy. And if I could buy that, I would borrow the money, but fortunately, that
It's
ain't
priceless.
for sale. Love is for sale according to the sign, but that just meant someone's body is for sale when you check out the song. Love is there. It's
dear.
earned, and it's for free.
Interesting. Well, what's also interesting about the people you mentioned is that, of the stuff that's rubbed off. You talk about even just Jack Kerouac, Dizzy Gillespie, Charles Mingus, and Leonard Bernstein. That's and Eugene Ormandy from the Philadelphia Orchestra. All these different musical genres and different types of human beings, and the fact that you're able to get a little bit from each one of them and pass it on. It's truly, truly remarkable.
Well, also, it helps me as a composer, because when you're sitting there with a blank piece of paper, it doesn't matter what you write, what's written about you, how you look, anything. It's about somehow putting something down that someone might pick up that you never know, getting out their instrument that they've been playing all their life and feeling something, taking that off of the paper and making it something beautiful. So for them to use their creativity, you got to put something down there of a good map quest that makes the people who are playing it, singing it, conducting it, feel something. And that in turn, people listening can feel something. So when you realize that we're all part of the creative process in music, then you could separate those different dichotomies. So basically, since I wanted to be a composer, and I was told that was hopeless, and I wanted to be a jazz musician, and I was told that was hopeless, especially playing the French horn. I had no place to go but up, and I'm still going there. And if I could make it to about 380, I'd be able to get out of kindergarten and into the first grade with flying colors. In the meantime, we just all got to keep on trucking, doing the best we can, and hanging out with anybody and everybody to share what we have and get better as a result.
Beautifully said.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I feel, I think I've picked up along the way the different people that I've met in my shorter time on this planet, but it's the same experience that I've had in the world of music, and just, having met people like Freebo and maybe my first guitar teacher, or, different singers I've known, men and women of all, genres and different walks of life and ages. And it's those people who have each contributed a little bit to who I am as an artist and a singer. And that never stops. That journey is lifelong. So it's nice to know I got a lot of years to look forward to of all that as well.
Indeed. And I would say to you, Alice, and share with the people that you often say to me, how you long for those times that I was a part of in the 70s. And
I do. It's tempting for somebody like me to say the good old days, just musically, because I feel like you got to play on every record that, that music just isn't made in that exact way anymore. It doesn't mean that one can't create one's own scene or, style, genre, etc., but, community of people that is like-minded. It's just, sure, like I look at your records of all the people you've played with, and I'm just like, man, I missed out.
But I get maybe what I'm trying to say though, and I think where David's coming from too, is that yes, he was there with Mingus and all those people. I was with the people, but at some point you're going to look back at the same thing and say, wait a second,
Yeah.
I remember the pandemic. Oh yeah, I remember that.
Right.
And these shows you did, and
Right.
people, and you have so much ahead of you that. At some point, it's going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's.
And
there
I'll
are
be
golden
talking to
ages in
some
music.
young person, and they'll be like, man,
Yeah.
I wish I'd
Oh,
been
I wish
alive
I'd
in the
been there.
2000s.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey, Freebo, why don't you share a song with us?
Okay.
You got your guitar and everything.
I do.
What do you
and
think, David? Should he play a song?
I'm going to share one of David's favorite songs.
Oh, good.
And this, I find this very interesting because David, a musical genius who knows all of the chords ever created through the only 12 notes there are and the multitude of infinite combinations there are. This is a 2-chord song, only 2 chords. But of course, in classical music, there was tonic and dominant, even before there was subdominant. So this is a tonic and dominant song, and I know you like the song, David. I'm playing it for you.
yeah.
Alice, why don't you pick up the bass?
Oh, all right.
Because along the way, David, I showed Alice a little bit on the bass, and she's picked it up very well. She's grooving very nicely on the 5-string fretless bass.
She's grooving very nicely.
Yeah.
Hey, Freebo, can I just take a second to mention a couple of things while we
Absolutely.
have the floor
Of
here?
course you can.
I just want to say thank you all. I want to welcome everyone who's watching on Facebook, on YouTube, and those of you who have joined us backstage on Zoom. Just so everybody knows, we are going to be doing a Zoom after party. We did it 2 weeks ago with Christine Lavin. It was really fun. David was up for it. So we're actually running the show a little differently tonight, where we kind of had like a little VIP section starting if you join our newsletters, which you can find at freebomusic.com, alicehowe.com. If you get our email newsletters and you follow us on social media, Facebook and Instagram, then you can get the Zoom info before the show starts, and you can kind of like join early, which some folks have. However, everybody's going to have the opportunity to join at the end of the show. It's just a limited amount of space, so we thought we would give some folks who get our newsletter a chance to join earlier. If that's something that interests you, just know that you can go to alicehowe.com, freebomusic.com, and join our newsletter. And we write about, once every 2 weeks or so, whenever we feel like it. But yeah, that's just a nice way to keep in touch. Bottom line, we'll be sending out the meeting ID and password right at the end of our 90-minute show here, so that you guys can join us. And we're actually going to broadcast the after party onto Facebook and YouTube. So no matter what you do, you can keep watching. I know that was kind of complicated sounding.
But if
Don't be
but
intimidated.
So how do they actually get the link so that for those
For
do
those
they have
who
to
are
be
watching now,
the chat?
Yep, the meeting ID and password will be put in the chat right at the end of the show. So you can just keep an eye on the chat on Facebook or YouTube, wherever you're watching. It's going to be there, and you can just enter that info in your Zoom on your computer, and we'll see you here. So.
And of course, to go into Zoom, that means you can be in there. You can actually see David. You can see us. We can see you. You can ask questions. It's totally interactive.
More interactive.
Really
we
cool.
get to see you. So yeah, we're kind of adding this on bit by bit. And thank you to our friend Brandon for helping with the tech side of things. We're getting there.
Thank you, Brandon. It's like being backstage, Alice.
Exactly, and it's
having your own backstage
it's nice.
pass.
And
How
I also
cool.
just want to say that if you all, you probably have seen this in the chat, but just so you know, this is a free show tonight. As always, Inside Live is free to watch, but we do accept your donations for the show. We split the donations 3 ways between the artists, and we're really grateful for your support. Helps us keep bringing you great music every Wednesday. So there's info for PayPal and Venmo, as well as a mailing address in case you want to send a check. So all that is in the chat as well. Oh my gosh, I am going to play the bass now.
Well, I guess I better play the guitar.
I'm done with my public service announcement.
Okay, David, this is, speaking of requests, this is for you and for all those dog people out there.
Way to man the right key.
Including you, Michael Jokum.
Am I
Here we
good?
go. Ready?
Okay, just got it. There's no fuzz on this thing.
One, two, three, four. Once upon a time, everything was so fine, cozy, just my baby and me. I was so well fed, had my breakfast in bed. I was happier than man could be. Then my buddy called up, had the cutest little pup. I couldn't help but take him in. Little did I know her affection would go to my new little four-legged friend. Keep playing, Alice. Now she loved my dog more than me. She loved my dog more than me. I love my dog. She loved my dog, but she loved my dog more than me. We were lying by the fire, burning with desire, but suddenly to my chagrin, as the fire got to stoking, came a cold nose a poking, somewhere it should not have been. I thought she'd shoo him away, but she told him to stay. It kinda took me out of the zone. Now a man's best friend gets a girl in the end, and I'm left holding the bone. Know what I mean, David? Now she loved my dog more than me. She loved my dog more than me. I love my dog. She loved my dog. She loved my dog more than me. So I'm sitting here fuming while he's getting all the grooming. That ain't how it's supposed to be. Well, you know I don't hate him, but I got an ultimatum. Baby, it's a dog of me. Well, I got a reply, and she led me outside, and she handed me my people chow. Now I'm howling at the moon while he's up in my room, and I'm in the doghouse now. She loved my dog more than me. Headphones. She loved my dog more than me. I love my dog. She loved my dog, but she loved my dog more than me. That's right, Toby. Sing along. There's a moral to the story. When you fall from the glory, you gotta do it gracefully. When you're back in the bed with the dog at the head, we're a nuclear family. And I accept my fate. You know there's little debate, because there ain't no democracy. From the moment he came, it's been a doggone shame. Help me out, Alice. I said it's been a doggone shame. She always said fifth instead of third, but I'll forgive you. That she loved my dog more than me. Everybody sing. She loved my dog more than me. Nice pickup. She loved my dog more than me. I love my dog. She loved my dog, but she loved my dog more than me. One more time. She loved my dog more than me. She loved my dog more than me. I love my dog. She loved my dog, but she loved my dog more than me. Yes, I love my dog. She loved my dog, but she loved my dog more than me. Here you go.
Bravo.
Oh, thank you.
Hello.
I know if we could play in real time, you'd be penny whistling right along with that one, David.
I'd like to hear that. David, I'd like to know the story of your hat.
Well, I got this in New Orleans,
I
which
figured.
is such a joyful place to be. And since the pandemic, I haven't dared to go to a barber, so I didn't want to frighten all my old friends and people in your audience, since I looked like Albert Einstein after he'd fallen out of a washer dryer. So I thought I would wear my hat in the house for this show. Kinky Friedman said the only people in America who wear their hats in the house are cowboys and Orthodox Jews. So since
one
I'm
are you?
Reformed Jewish
Yeah,
and
wait a minute.
I was brought up on a farm, so I was an ex-hayseed, but not a cowboy. I figured this hat, celebrating with seeing Freebo and you for the first time together in New Orleans, was appropriate. And they
Very
got the
much
best
so.
food and coffee in the world.
Oh, they do.
oh, they
Man,
do.
we ended up
Hey,
there with...
Cafe Du Monde.
I know.
That's
I
it.
was going to say we were there like at 2 in the morning
I
or
think it was
something
more
with
like
Neil
4.
and Eric Schwartz, and there was a group of us that made it down there, and man, having that coffee with the chicory and the so good.
And the beignet with
Beignet.
the powdered sugar.
Man, I miss going out places.
And you
Well,
speak
that's the
about
great thing
people
about
playing
well,
music and listening to each other and cooperating.
yeah.
That's the capital of laisser les bon temps rouler, which means to listen and pay attention and be part of the whole. Everybody. I never played with anyone down there who wasn't a terrific musician and listener and hospitable.
Yeah, the place
Love it.
definitely has an amazing vibe to it. It's true, and I mean, it's such a wonderful confluence of different types of music. I mean, the French and the mountain, the country and the Caribbean, and you know, the blues. I mean, it definitely it's its own flavor in so many ways. I mean, musically, the cuisine is completely different than any place else. Not exactly healthy, but it sure is delicious.
Hey, I'm wondering, David, did you grow up in New York?
No, I was brought up. I was brought up on a farm in Feasterville, population about 140 if you counted some of the animals.
Okay.
So
'Cause
I
you
was.
said you were a hayseed, so I was wondering which field you blew in from.
Oh, no, that was Feasterville, Pennsylvania. At that time, my first experience with folk music was hearing at Wally Freed's gas station, where I mowed the lawn, so I was part of the inside circle at 9 years old. And Mr. Freed said, "David, we know you're playing the trumpet. You dream of being a musician someday. We're going to have a cowboy music concert." I said, "Oh, boy," because I seen the Sons of the Pioneers, you know, in the movie theaters. So I went there. These guys had these gigantic Warner Brothers hats, spurs, which you don't need to do a concert, and chaps. They weren't doing any bulldogging. Mexican saddles and horses, and they sung their cans off. I said, boy, I want to get close to these cowboys. So I went back. I heard the one cowboy say, "Angela, what time's that train to get back to South Philadelphia?" I said, wait a minute. Then he said, "I don't know, Vinny, we got to get it back there. You know, the kids are hungry. I got our money. Let's get the hell out of here." I said, wait a minute. They didn't sound like that when they were singing. The next day, Wally asked me how to do. I said, well, you know, they didn't sound like cowboys, except when they were singing. They sounded like they were from South Philadelphia. He said they were. They just come here. They pay $1 to the local farmer and rent the horses, bring their stuff up, pay us the tambourine, and go back. This was during the Depression, and help out their families. So I realized, without realizing it, anybody can do anything in music if they surrender themselves to it and study it all their life. So Yo-Yo Ma's not a member of the Bach family, but boy, when he plays Bach, look out. And any of us can do anything if we approach it with humility and hard work, and can become that. So a lot of us in music spend our lives learning all the different styles and the different nuances and the subtleties, and then we can still be ourselves, but we can add to ourselves by getting close to the wisdom and the cultures and the beauties of other people if we humble ourselves enough to try to learn it right.
Right on. Well, Alice's question brings up a question from me to you, which is, and actually what you said that the gas station attendant said that he knew you wanted to be a musician. Did you actually always know you wanted to be a musician, or were you brought up to be something else?
Well, I asked my father, he said, what do you want to do? I said, I'd like to be a farmer. He said, well, that's impossible, 160-acre farm. I had to do my other work to support my farming. And he said, what else? I said, I'd like to be a jazz musician and a composer. And he said, that's worse. So
At what age, David? What age was that?
So I recommend all people, if you're told that your career trajectory is hopeless, that's no reason not to do it anyway. And whatever you do to pay your rent has no bearing on your value as a person or an artist.
Interesting.
One has nothing to do with the other.
So how old were you when you actually said, I want to be, now if you couldn't be a farmer, you wanted to be a jazz musician and you wanted to write a symphony? How old were you? Can you remember? I guess I
had some kind of a vague fantasy that maybe I could at least get close to that. And the amazing thing is at 90, I still want to be that, and I'm doing that, but I want to do it better than ever and still feel the same way. I'm still just hearing you guys tonight. Boy, that was like a breath of fresh air, just like when I heard you in New Orleans. And anytime you have a beautiful experience, it reminds you of the beauty that surrounds us, that's here every day. The Native American people always felt that our sky and our clouds and our rain and our sun and our food and the animals and the blessed people, those are a gift. We don't own that stuff. That was gifted to us. So our gig, number one, is to try to take care of it. Number two, to respect it. And number three, to be thankful that this is a gift. And when you think of it that way, then you don't look the gift horse in the mouth. You take the page out of your book, the song about the dog, and you love it more than any soulmate loves the dog more than you. You just fall in love with what surrounds you and see if you can reflect that in some way while you're here. And everybody can. Everybody's creative until we're talked out of it.
Right
yes,
on.
That's so true.
Well, I tell you, Alice, talk about gifts. Alice has the gift of a truly beautiful voice, and it's been my pleasure to be part of her journey and maybe just help shape that just a little bit, because it's a Rolls Royce of voices, and I know you know that, but I'm kind of throwing it over to you, Alice, to do a song and do something with that.
Great.
Oh, well, all right. I just want to make sure that David knows that there have been some really lovely comments coming in about you and how wise and thoughtful and just well-spoken you are, and everybody's just enjoying you very much. I just want you to know that. They're calling you a national treasure, David.
Yeah, national
Well, I
treasure.
appreciate that, but if I can make a request, I would love to hear you, because I've been hearing myself long enough. I'm hearing you at the sound check. The minute you started singing, you sang the first two notes. I said, "Oh man, I'm in the right place."
All right, I'll see if I can. I'll do that again for you. All right.
All right.
Let me get that bass out.
Let's switch here.
So, which of your beautiful songs are you going to do?
Well, let's see. I'm gonna have to get out of Dadgad first. Let's see.
And while you're doing that, maybe I can tell the folks that we are still sponsored by Cordial Courts and Fair Trade Coffee, and we have giveaways. And first, we're going to do the Cordial Chord giveaway. Cordial, and we're using them on both our guitars, bass, the microphones. They're wonderful cords. They're almost pure copper, and they have little to no resistance, so that the sound is very pure. And they're lifetime guarantee. Imagine that. How many musicians out there have gone through chord after chord after chord. You don't have to do that with Cordial. So we're going to give away one, and all you have to do is come up with a number between 1 and 100, and Alice has picked a number. I'm not I tell you what it is. You have to guess. And the person who's closest to that number gets the chord and a t-shirt, a Cordial t-shirt. In fact, David, I think you get to have a chord as well. I know you're looking for one from your piano. It might be a different kind of chord, but this might be the perfect opportunity. It's as good a chord as you're going to get anywhere.
Oh, good. So yeah, guys, put your guesses in the chat. Whether doesn't matter where you're watching. Just put your guess for a number between 1 and 100. And Sam, I'm glad you received yours and you're digging it. That's great. Nice to have somebody give a review in person, having received one.
Yeah, and maybe Brandon, maybe you can write these down since Al's is going to be busy singing.
He's on it.
He's on it. I bet he is, and we'll let you know what the number is, and you can tell us who's closest. Okay. And then later on, we'll do the 1 pound of R.A. Maros Fair Trade coffee, which you really like. I call him RP, actually, which most of his friends do. So it's really Ari.
I'm not laughing
Ari
at you.
Maros.
I'm sorry.
You have it together yet, Alice? I mean, how long did it take you to tune the guitar? Alice, by the way, worked at a place called Dusty Strings, a wonderful guitar shop up in Seattle, where she changed many, many, many guitar strings, and she can actually do it in 7 minutes, believe it or not. From taking the strings off to having them on and tuned, 7 minutes. That's amazing.
Okay, I'm ready.
Ready? Okay. Did I do okay?
Look, I have too many things in my brain right now between, I got the computer, I got the phone, I got the... Okay, maybe we need to turn up your volume, Freebo. I keep seeing that.
Turn up my volume.
Maybe you need to...
Just bring the mic a little bit closer.
You're telling me not to move it closer. All right. Is this any better?
Yeah. Yes, that's good.
Is it better?
Okay.
Yes.
All right, let's play Still on My Mind.
Okay, still in my mind.
Rain falling across the water, mist is rising on the mountainside, leaves are blooming in the ash tree, robin's looking for something sweet. Beneath the eaves, not one drop will find me. A little seedling is breaking through, persistent as the thought of you. Looking out into a sea of green, thinking on the years and miles that lie between. It seems so long ago, but you're still on my mind, you know. I go walking through the trees, the water dances over stones. The April morning is clean and new, but a breeze has brought the thought of you. Looking out into a sea of green, thinking on the years and miles that lie between. It be satisfied, satisfied. The banks are full with all this rain. If they'll overflow, I can't say. The crickets calling in the firelight, and a long and gentle sleep tonight. Looking out into a sea of green, thinking on the years and miles that lie between. It seems so long ago. You're still on my mind. Yeah, you're still on my mind. You know. You know. My mind, you know. Once we get going, it's all good. Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Hey, do you mind if I mention my show on Friday before we
No,
move
please
on?
do.
I know a lot of you are aware that I'm doing a special online concert on Friday. Oh, by the way, Fuzzby, yes.
Oh, yeah, Fuzzby.
Morris, the star of the full band recording with his amazing guitar playing. So, guys, definitely check that song out on Spotify. Look up Still on My Mind. And Fuzzby Morris, you will hear his... I remember when we were recording it and he was kind of playing something. And I was like, Fuzzby, it's just not quite what I was picturing. I don't know. And he was like, would you like me to dirty it up, ma'am? And he did. And now it's perfect. I just want to mention I have a show this Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific, same start time as this show, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's my 30th birthday show. I'm turning 30 on Friday. I am 1/3 of David Amram's age on Friday. And I'd love for you to come. I'm going to play everything I know. I'm going to do a longer set, just play all my old stuff, all my new stuff, and Freebo's going to pop in and play a special request that I have asked him to learn for me as a birthday present. And I've got Vance Gilbert as well as Kirsten Maxwell both coming in to share some songs. And I've got new t-shirts that I had made, which I could show you guys later, but I'd love if you would come. So that's Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific. That's going to be on Facebook and YouTube, my Facebook page, Alice Howe Music, or my YouTube channel. So we'll see you there. And I should announce that we have a winner because he read my mind. The number that I chose was 30, and our winner is Vincent. Vincent, you have to stop reading.
Did he already win one?
He did.
Oh my God!
It's random. What can we say?
Well, either Vincent, you're going to have to be generous and give it to somebody else, or just have a guitar chord and a mic chord and a piano chord.
He's gonna have the full set. Well, thank you all for playing our cordial giveaway tonight. We will be doing it again every week. So don't give up if you haven't won yet.
That's right.
All right, let's bring David Amram back.
Yes.
We're done with our business. There he is. Hello, sir.
You're back,
Hi,
David.
Hi.
Hi.
That was beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
And I know you're going to enjoy Vance Gilbert. He's amazing. We did a program at Lowell Celebrates Kerouac. He was unbelievable. And he said, I only live 16 miles from Lowell. And finally he got discovered in the 16-mile radius as the genius that he is. He's something else with all the different
he is genius.
He
and you actually, I know that you know Kirsten Maxwell as well, because I remember a video of you two one of the years that I was at Folk Alliance. It was some kind of late night little thing of you playing the penny whistle and her singing. So
she's terrific.
She's got such a
that's the wonderful thing when you're with a whole 1,000 people, and everybody has something to offer. It's just unfortunate that you can't be 13 different people at the same time, and then you could catch most of it. But it's very enjoyable, and then you can bring that's kind of just gives you a wonderful feeling. Believe it or not, I don't want to shock any of my old friends who might be watching. I'm going to try and stay in my time limit and do something short. So this is one I was just writing, and I didn't get the chance to do the music for it, so I'll just read the lyrics. And the next time we all get together, I'll be able to sing it, and it'll still be under 3 minutes. I was just staring in the mirror, like most people do when they get to a certain age, over 23, saying, oh man, there must be something wrong with that mirror. And I said, oh, that's me. So it's called The Old Man in the Mirror. Who's that old man in the mirror staring back at me? I guess I ought to know him. Looks like what I hoped I'd never be. Even though I kept on staring, couldn't get my eyes to look the other way. Those eyes stared back at me. They oozed the blues. There was nothing I could say. Next day, my son Adam came by to say hello. I said, I think my mirror's busted. Please fix it before you go. I saw him staring in the mirror, saw myself again. Said, Adam, now that mirror's yours. You got yourself a brand new friend. So this story's, in a nutshell, that's all I got to say. If you think your mirror's busted, just look the other way. Your mirror's all messed up. So if it's staring back at you, just give it to a brand new friend. That's all you got to do. And very often, like I'm sure some of you do, I'll think of the story and then suddenly I'll say, wow, and then scribble it down and then eventually find music for it. Now, in my remaining 1 minute and 30 seconds, I learned the hula sai in China when I was there for a Jack Kerouac festival and thought, boy, this would be a great song. I ended up using it in a version of that I did of a Woody Guthrie song after I wrote my Woody Guthrie Symphony, and Arlo and Nora liked it. Then I went to Harvard where they were playing a piece of mine. They said, we want you to write us a wind symphony. And I thought, boy, for the second movement, I got to do something generically American. The first movement was based on the European bands, and the last movement on music from India and other called Global Suite. Suddenly, I looked up on the wall and I saw Pete Seeger's picture, who'd only been there less than a year when he went on the road to Harvard. And I took this one little traditional melody on the same horn that I'd gotten in China long ago called The Wayfaring Stranger. Now, when people hear the symphony play that, that's going to be played by a baritone horn, and I wrote a whole movement based around that. No one has to know how I stumbled and fumbled into ending up doing that. But I just wanted to mention that for everybody, whatever you do, wherever you go, you can take something that's an experience and make it the groundwork for something else, and you might end up with something terrific that you never would have done anyway. And when they play that at Harvard, that would be a wonderful thank you to Pete, because I knew him since I was 17, and the way he encouraged all of us to do everything that we could in music and life with the larger attitude than the me, I, how much, whatever, but to try to be absorbed in the beauty and the responsibility of adding something, making a contribution while we're here. And that's it.
Oops.
Just
Beautiful.
said beautiful, David. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah. Hey, I had a question for you. As you were playing, I was thinking, I just can't imagine like I'm not a composer, so the idea of composing a symphony is just unimaginable to me. And I'm wondering if you could talk about where you start with something like that.
Well, I always took what Dizzy Gillespie told me when he said, man, he said, every morning I wake up, look at that trumpet, and it's sitting in the case waiting for me. So every day I wake up and I see that blank piece of paper. This has a few scribbles on it, staring at me, and you say, whoa. Each time it's a different experience. So I try to delve into all the beautiful things I've been lucky enough to be around, including being with you all tonight, and somehow tap into that and see if there's some way I can get started doing something. And it's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. And your job as the composer is to make that whole jigsaw puzzle so beautifully that it can be put together by musicians, singers, dancers, whatever, and turn out to be something that's effortless, beautiful, a joy to behold for everyone else. And you're like someone who's built a house or a bridge. You're just sitting on the sidelines and letting it be. So it's really construction, hard work, thinking, and having some background. And then when you're stuck and you say, what do I do now? Then you throw away all the intellectual stuff and you go on your instinct. And your instincts, I believe, are formed by what you experience in life. And all the beautiful things will tell you what feels right and what feels wrong. And the terrific thing about composing is you have a second, third, and 127th chance. So you can use the two great inventions of the 20th century, the wastebasket and the eraser, and keep throwing stuff away until it comes out right. And no one has to know.
Do you ever just get so frustrated, though? Do you ever feel just, it's not what I want. It's not working. Is it just a puzzle that ever feels impossible?
All the time. When I did the Woody Guthrie Symphony, I spent 2 months. I burned up enough paper to get me thrown out of every ecological group I dreamed I could be part of. And it probably took 2 trees worth of paper that were just... And then Nora said, no, man, she said, read Joe Klein's biography, and some of you knew Woody since 1956, write about all the travels that he made, starting in Okima until he came to New York, and then the time you saw him in New York when he was walking around all the different boroughs in the neighborhoods. So, bam, I was given a map quest. I was given a carrot, which you give to a horse to make it move, supposedly, or a donkey or whatever. I saw I had a direction, and I was able to write a theme and variations based on that idea of Woody and all the different places that he went. And the same thing, we have to remember, Beethoven, boom, 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 boom. And I was told in school, because we had miserable education back then in certain ways, that was the anvil of fate. In other words, Beethoven had direct cell phone service to God, and the rest of us poor mortals didn't. And it was the anvil of fate saying, dong, 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 dong. They didn't realize it was Beethoven's landlady saying, please pay your rent. So you can just take something simple and make a whole symphony out of it, or a novel, or a book, or a song, or a story, or a painting, or some fantastic dish of whatever is in the icebox.
David, you gave me a copy, and I'll treasure it forever, of your symphony, the Woody Guthrie Symphony, and of course, I mean the theme of "This Land Is Your Land" is all over it, and I mean to partly answer your question too, Alice, and what Beethoven does is you take a simple motif like ba 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 or ba da da ba 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 ba. It's just right. The second half's just like the first half, but slightly different notes. And then it's just a question. I'm not trying to say, hey, it's real simple. Like, I've never done it.
Where's your symphony for
But the idea, I think, what David's saying too, that I get out of it is you take an idea and then you embellish it, and then you just. And that's beautiful. David, I would like to play, if I may, I would like to play a song. Actually, somebody requested it. My friend David Ingalls requested it, but I was going to play it for you anyway because it's a song that if you ever get a chance, I would love you to orchestrate this song for me. On my record, I put a French horn on it, and I know you can relate to that. And ba-da-da, there's another 3-note motif, and I answer that motif all over the place. I would love you to orchestrate that at some point, but more than that, I would love to play the song for you because it's called Standing Ovation, and that's what it's about. It takes place at a funeral, at my funeral, and I'm basically saying that, you know, I hope I'm seen for everything that I tried to be. And if I may humbly ask, wouldn't it be nice if I can imagine getting a standing ovation for that work? And I see that in everything you're saying, and if anybody I've ever known deserves one, it is you. So I would like to play that for you if I may.
Great.
And just know that me going da 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 and Alice answering it is part of the orchestration. So maybe you can just start to hear that in your head and go, let's see, where can I go? I'm giving you a head start.
Okay. How nice. May I mention our other giveaway?
Could you do it after the song? As a good friend of mine suggested.
I thought you were tuning.
I think I'm there. Yeah. That'd be great after it. Perfect. Okay, David, for you. Standing ovation. If life is a comedy, the part that we play is never as clear as it could be. Or maybe a drama, who is to say? But it always turns out as it should be. And if I am a player who's played his part well and did it with humor and grace, when I die, give me a standing ovation, a celebration for a job well done. No need to cry,
Don't you cry.
It's not my final destination. I'll be at the station when the train comes by. You write your own story as the pages unfold, but you're never quite sure of the ending. Maybe it's destiny, maybe it's fate, maybe we're all just pretending. In a tale of a lifetime, if it all comes around and you only receive what you're sending. When I die, give me a standing ovation, a celebration for a job well done. No need to cry, it's not my final destination. I'll be at the station when the train comes by. Some have it easy, some have it all. Some work so hard for so little. We sink to the bottom and we rise to the top, but mostly wind up in the middle. The more we are different, the more we're the same. I'm just one more who's worked through the riddle. And when I die, give me a standing ovation, a celebration for a job well done. No need to cry, it's not my final destination. I'll be at the station when the train comes by. When I die, give me a standing ovation, a celebration for a job well done. No need to cry, it's not my final destination. I'll be at the station when the train comes by. Oh, yes, I will. Oh, yes, I will. For you, David.
Beautiful. That was beautiful.
Singing that part is just very, it's like a heart opener. It gets a lot of good air moving around. Feels good. Yeah. Hey, why don't we just go right into another song? David, would you play one more for us? Do you have something
I'd
you'd like
happy
to do?
I didn't dream I was even going to be able to do anything, but thanks to Brandon O'Sullivan, who helped with the Greenwich Village Folk Festival to actually make it sound like a Greenwich Village Folk Festival. I have on my Greenwich Village Festival jacket, which is now, that's temporarily COVIDed out, but I'm not, and the jacket isn't. So, Brandon, thank you. And as a result, for the first time since I was in this pandemic we're in, I'm able to actually play the piano without smashing it to pieces so it can be barely heard.
Yay.
So I'm going to do a wonderful song that I love by Phil Oakes. I did this with him just about 2 weeks before he left us, and Phil always said, you know, as long as, like Woody, as long as you get the words right, it doesn't matter what the music is. And his sister, Sunny, who's amazing, she said it was okay, so I figured it was all right to do it this way. And it's a great song that he wrote, and for all people who were brought up to be told he was a protest singer, he was a great poet that wrote what he felt about everything that was happening, including life itself. And this is one has nothing to do with protesting. It's celebrating life and our responsibility, what you got to do. And this is what he felt he had to do when he said, when I'm gone. There's no place in this world where I belong when I'm gone. And I won't know the right from the wrong when I'm gone. And you won't find me singing on this song when I'm gone. So I guess we'll have to do it while we're here. And I won't know the flowing of the time when I'm gone, and all the pleasures of love will not be mine when I'm gone. My pen won't pour out a lyric line when I'm gone, so I guess we'll have to do it while we're here. And I won't breathe bracing air when I'm gone. And I can't even worry about my cares when I'm gone. I won't even be asked to do my share when I'm gone. So I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. And I won't be running from the rain when I'm gone. And I can't even suffer from the pain when I'm gone. Can't say who's to praise and who's to blame when I'm gone. So I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. And I won't see the golden of the sun when I'm gone, and all the evenings and the mornings will not be one when I'm gone. Can't be singing louder than their guns when I'm gone. So I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. All my days won't be dances of delight when I'm gone, and the sands will be shifting from my sight when I'm gone. Can't add my name into the fight when I'm gone, so I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. And I won't be laughing at the lies when I'm gone. And I can't even question how or when or why when I'm gone. Can't live proud enough to die when I'm gone. So I guess, yes, I guess. And I'm sure all of you who are watching Alice Freebo's weekly show guess yourselves. Do we got to take those suggestions that were put on someone else, which they stole from someone else's shelves? That we don't need advice from those who don't pay any attention to what's real before us each and every day, and that all of us can create something in a creative, certain, special, individual way, and we can make life more beautiful so that when you write your own song, you'll realize that we are responsible, each and every one, for what we do when we're gone.
Woo!
Yeah. Beautiful.
What a great song. I just love that message. That refrain is just perfect.
And Phil was just so amazing because with all that he went through, he never lost sight of what he was trying to do and who he was. And now, all these years later, there's a renaissance, and people said, where did Phil Oakes go? We need him today. I said, man, he never went anywhere. His stuff was beautiful, and as John Keats said, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. And now he's being appreciated as a poet, which doesn't mean for your young listeners that they should give up or say, oh man, I was born 30 years too late. They just have to do what everybody's been doing since Adam and Eve left the Garden of Eden, and the rents have been too high ever since. In spite of that, and men and women have been scuffling, he took everyday common experiences and found a beautiful way to deal and write with them, and left us with so many beautiful songs, just as you two guys are doing.
Oh, thank you, David. And hey, that was a nice segue to standing ovation too. I like that. When I'm gone. Cool.
That's nice.
Go ahead. Were you going to say something?
No, I'm just listening.
Oh, I have one more question before we go out and Alice.
Yes?
Well, I'm going to ask you this question, and then we can do
What?
the quickie with the coffee.
We're
before
actually gonna do it during the after party. We decided.
Oh, okay.
We decided we're gonna do we're still giving away a pound of coffee, y'all, but you're gonna have to come to the Zoom. So just hold tight for that.
Okay,
What were you
perfect.
gonna say?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's been just wonderful having you on the show, David. I mean, I wrote in my newsletter that it's going to be inspirational, and absolutely, I know I'm inspired. I hope everybody else is out there, and by the comments, I can see that they are. But look, you've done so much in your life, and like you say, you're 90 years old, and you're still going, and I hope you make it to 100, and I trust you'll be creative for all those years that you have left. But having done so much, what's on the plate for you now? I know you've got a couple of projects going. Where do you want to go from here?
Well, I'm just finishing the final corrections of the Global Suite for Winds, Brass, and Percussion. I'm writing, which the Harvard Wind Ensemble will be doing. They were supposed to do it last December, so I'm using the time that they couldn't show up to even fix every little scintilla even more. I'm writing a new piece for Elmira Darvarova called Voyages for Unaccompanied Violin, and I'm probably starting on a new orchestral piece. They're also opening a film I did the music for about Steve Post, a wonderful radio commentator and freethinker in the 60s. And I'm working on a new book, my fourth book, called Amram at 90, Notes of a Promising Young Composer. And they're doing a film about me, and I'm getting all my friends and people I know to try to be in that. And then as soon as the pandemic, or whatever they call it, is lifted, I'm getting my second shot by a miracle February 13th. So then I'm going to begin to do audio books of all of my 3 previous books. I'm recording them, and then I'm practicing the French horn again so I can play that. And then I'll be going out with my group and playing anywhere and everywhere, and occasionally guest conducting and going to schools, and mostly trying to encourage other people to do what they feel they were put here to do. So staring in the mirror is a bad idea, as I finally realized when I wrote that little song. And I would recommend to everyone else, if you look around and see other people and not just be worried about yourself, it's a lot more relaxing and a lot more fun.
Oh, fantastic! Well,
Wonderful.
yeah, it's just nice to know. I mean, I'm a good ways behind you, but you know, I have turned 70, and you know, I've certainly got more behind me than in front of me. But it's nice to know that like everybody else out there, we can take what's behind us and get into the present and use it for whatever future we have, and continue to create and continue to make our mark and continue to express ourselves. I really believe that, you know, we're here, we're spiritual beings on a human journey, and we are here to express ourselves. That's what we all want to do, and no matter what means it's from, and
Sure.
you certainly do it so well, and it certainly have inspired me, my friend, really.
Well, you know, speaking of expressing yourself, when Dizzy Gillespie and I were in New Orleans on the way to Cuba in 1977, we were the first. He said, you know, man, he said, in New Orleans, he said, they've got the concept of the gumbo. I said, what? And he said, yes, everybody, each of us puts our precious little ingredient into that nutritious pot, not a melting pot, a nutritious pot. And then we partake from that, and we are re-energized by all the beautiful things to which we contributed.
Yeah.
And that's different than the melting pot. It's like the
Right.
Canadian idea of the mosaic, where each person, each culture is celebrated and contributes to all of us and returns to all of us. So the idea, if we can think about how can we make a contribution rather than how can we take all the real estate and be a nasty, grouchy, self-centered, narcissistic creep, which is an overcrowded field and a non-growth industry. If we can make a contribution instead, that's a lot hipper and it's a lot more nutritious, and you feel happier from the vitamins to the soul that you get back from that. And that's scarcely an original idea. That comes from the old prayer V'ahavta la'arecha chamoka, which means love thy neighbor as thyself. And the great Rabbi Akiba said, if you know that, that's all you got to know. Everything else in the Talmud is conjecture. And Sonny Rollins said to me, you know, man, that golden rule is in every major religion and every major culture in the world that's survived. So when we were mentioning in the beginning, seeing that beautiful young 22-year poet and all those famous people getting down with the get down and giving us a feast rather than an egomaniac record sales type trip, but just something beautiful for us to celebrate being here, that's about as great a contribution as you can make. And all of us have a contribution because we all have a story, we all have a heritage, a family, a culture, and things that we've experienced, and they're all precious and they're all valuable. And once you realize that, then you're a menace to society because you don't hate yourself and your neighbors and your family, and therefore not feeling that you're that revolting, which we're told we are. You don't want to buy as much junk. So I would suggest to all of your listeners, if you want to write a song, go ahead and do it. If you want to sing a song, please do it. And I said to both you and Allison, it's an honor to be on your show and just to see you guys are doing something so beautiful. And everyone else now, with the magic of this computer and cyberspace, we are free from that big boulder that we're all buried under, where 0.1% ever gets a chance to squeak while we're here. And while that boulder may remain, like the Titanic, it's going down to the bottom, and we're not.
Beautiful. Amen. Wow.
I can't follow that. That's gotta take us out. There's no way. I'll play a song at the top of the after party. I want to leave it with that in the environment.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Said.
How do I get? Because I'm in spite of my heavy philosophy, I'm somewhat limited technologically, to put it mildly. What do I do to get on the after? Do I go to my?
You don't have to do anything. You get
to
just
great.
stay right where you are, and they're gonna come to us.
And I want to thank you and Freebo, and thank Brandon, and thank all your listeners for keeping music alive.
Absolutely. And David, I want to let people know how they can find out more about you and listen to your music and find out where they can buy it and your books. I believe they can just go to www.davidamram.com, if I'm not mistaken.
That's it.
DAVIDAMRAM, davidamram.com.
Right.
Yeah, it's very, very extensive site, and just being on it, I was so impressed with the reviews. I mean, your biography is incredible, but the reviews from all these different publications of so many things you've done. What a life, and you're still kicking, man. And
he certainly
I've said it a million times, but one more time, you are such an inspiration.
You are.
Right, Alice?
Thank you for bringing your wisdom and just your spirit to our show this evening. I know everybody has taken in a lot of joy and pleasure from hearing you, so thank you.
Oh, well, I thank you. And if I could follow my own advice, I'd be a bad cat.
Oh, my gosh. I know that feeling. Hey, so everybody, just so you know, the info to join us in the after party is now in the chat. It is limited seating, as it were. So just make sure you join ASAP. And we're going to take a 5-minute break, stretch our legs, get a glass of water. We'll be back in 5 minutes. So don't go anywhere. If you're watching on YouTube and Facebook and you want to just stay where you are watching, that's fine too. The show will keep going after the little intermission. So we're trying a new thing.
Yes.
Here we go. Oh, and by the way.
Yes.
Vincent gave his win to somebody else who was close to him for the Cordial cable.
Oh, how nice.
So, because he did already win. So it's Don Bernesser was the next closest. So I just want to say, if Don is still watching, if not, I will find you. But just thank you, Vincent, for giving your cable away. That's very sweet. Okay.
Yeah, we hope to see you on the chat. And hello there from Brazil. So glad you're watching. Maybe you can join us on the chat and we get to see you.
Okay. See you guys in 5 minutes. Here we go.
Okay.
Had my breakfast in bed, I was happy as a man can be. Then my buddy called up, had the cutest little pup. I couldn't help but take him in. Ah, little did I know her affection would go to my new little four-legged friend. Now she loves my dog more than me. She loves my dog more than me. I love my dog, and she loves my dog, but she loves my dog more than me. We were lying by the fire, burning with desire, when suddenly to my chagrin, as the fire got to stoking, came a cold nose a-poking, somewhere it should not have been. I thought she'd shoo him away, but she told him to stay. It kinda took me out of the zone. Now a man's best friend gets a girl in the end, and I'm left holding the bone. 'Cause she loves my dog more than me. She loves my dog more than me. I love my dog, and she loves my dog, but she loves my dog more than me. So I'm sitting here fuming while he's getting all the grooming. That ain't how it's supposed to be. Well, you know I don't hate him, but I got an ultimatum. Baby, it's the dog of me. Well, I got a reply as she let me outside, and she handed me my people chow. Now I'm howling at the moon while he's up in my room, and I'm in the doghouse now. 'Cause she loves my dog more than me. She loves my dog more than me. I love my dog, and she loves my dog, but she loves my dog more than me. Play it for me, Shane. Get down. You like that, Hepburn? There's a moral to the story. When you fall from the glory, you gotta do it gracefully. So I'm back in the bed with the dog at the head. We're a nuclear family, and I accept my fate. You know this little debate, because this ain't no democracy. From the moment he came, it's been a doggone shame that she loves my dog more than me. Yes, she loves my dog more than me. She loves my dog more than me. I love my dog, and she loves my dog, but she loves my dog more than me. Everybody sing it. She loves my dog more than me. She loves my dog more than me. I love my dog, and she loves my dog, but she loves my dog more than me. Yes, I love my dog, and she loves my dog, but she loves my dog more than me.
Hey everybody, we're back. Hope you enjoyed the full band version.
Are we
of,
back? Are we on?
She Loves My Dog.
Oh, there's a couple
We
people
are
there.
back.
Huh? And there's David. All right.
Let's How do we do this, Brandon? What's the plan?
Just go ahead and do your first song.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to do your giveaway first?
Oh yeah, right. Oh my gosh, Brandon's like the voice of God speaking to me. Yes, so we do want to give away our final. This is our final coffee giveaway. So this is the end of January. This is the last one.
This is it, huh? Final coffee giveaway.
We are so grateful to Arpi Maros and his company, Fair Trade Coffee Company. They have supported us for the last 2 months and have given away a pound of really delicious coffee every week. So this is the last one. And what are you doing?
That particular one, huh?
No, not actually. This
That's
is mine.
ours.
You can't have this. So we chose another number between 1 and 100, and you can put it in the chat. You know the drill, and we will pick somebody. So while I am playing this song, continue to think of this as the Jeopardy thinking music right now.
Alice, could you put on gallery so I can kind of see who's there?
Let's leave it open to everybody, Brandon. Let's leave it open to everyone because I didn't specify. So, you want me to put it on gallery?
Gallery, and then put the cursor on participant so I can see.
Oh my gosh.
Who's who?
Oh my gosh. Hi.
Uh-huh.
Oh, hi,
Hear
Yossi. Wow. Hey, Maddie K. Wow, Jason.
Max,
Oh my
Meanie,
gosh. Hi, everybody.
See, that's why I did it. Dora,
I didn't
that was
see them all
great.
there. Thank you for that suggestion.
You're welcome.
That's the whole point.
Bob Zwick, how you doing?
Yay.
Good
Wow.
to see you.
It's nice to not be all alone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tom Webb, I can't see your face, but oh, there you are. One of my Swarthmore buddies.
Hey,
Nope,
Toby.
I don't see you now. Yoshi, hi.
All right, I'm gonna play a brand new song. This is it's called "Things I'm Not Saying."
You want to be in B flat? I think you want to be in B, don't you? No?
Do I?
Either B or A.
It's all quiet now. At the end of the day, unpacked my suitcase. I put the dishes away. It's not hard to stay busy. I got so much to do. If I stop, I'll get caught with the things that I'm not saying to you. I heard you've been traveling. I heard you're doing all right. That you got some new girlfriend. Moving on with your life. But I'm still full of questions. Do you wonder too? Do you still save a spot for the things that I'm not saying to you? I block it out, I play pretend, I write you letters that I can't send. I get so tired of doing what's right. I don't wanna be tongue-tied the rest of my life. I bought a new car and I moved to LA. There's just something about it. I don't care what they say. I can walk in the sunshine on the days I feel blue. It's the best place I got escape what I'm not saying to you. I block it out, I play pretend, I write you letters that I can't send, but I get so tired of doing what's right. I don't wanna be tongue-tied the rest of my life. I needed to fly, and I needed to grow. I ain't telling you nothing you don't already know, but I still keep you with me. We both know that it's true. No, I haven't forgot all the things that I'm not saying to you. No, I haven't forgot all the things that I'm not saying to you. Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Thank you so much.
Absolutely amazing.
Oh my God, I get to hear you. What
A
is
bonus
happening?
for the room.
Thank you.
That was lovely.
It's so nice to hear you
So
guys
nice
and
to
see you
see
guys,
you.
and it's like a real concert.
It's like
for
the
crying
old
out loud.
days. Yeah,
Just like the old days, indeed.
we were
Yeah.
wanting to figure out a way to kind of make this show even more interactive, and this is our 20th episode, so
20,
we
wow.
were thinking, how do we kind of refresh and keep growing it and do something new? So
Well, thanks to Christine Lavin.
Hi,
She
Christine.
suggested
It
this,
was her,
and
and
here we
Brandon has
are.
helped
We love doing this.
make it happen, and I was terrified because I thought I would mess something up technologically, but I don't have to worry about it.
No.
Hey, how about we bring David Amram back on here?
Well, there he is. We see him right there up in the corner.
The amazing David has never gone away.
No,
He's here.
and it's
Freebo, by the
a
way,
joy. It's
he's
nice to
good for-
listen to you guys too.
that?
Let me tell you,
Oh, good. Yes. I was
Very
just saying,
refreshing.
Freebo, he is
oh,
big for
Christine.
them. That's not what they're seeing, is what I'm telling you.
Oh,
That's
they're
what
not
we're
seeing-
seeing.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry about
Well,
it.
wait a minute. I have to put the speaker back on just a second. Do I have to put some?
No, you're good. I was just.
You're good, David.
It's,
Oh,
it's all
okay. Christine said the most wonderful thing. The whole group of people were together, all worried about, am I getting enough attention? She said, we all go out to the beach. We can all put our blankets out there anywhere, and there's enough sunlight for everybody. That's Christine Lavin, not me. She said that. She told that to Doug Yeager, who told that to me. Christine's just amazing.
Well,
Always
that
was.
reminds me of something from The Artist's Way. Have you read The Artist's Way, David?
Not yet, but I'll
He
check it out.
He doesn't need to.
Well, I know, but he would probably still enjoy it.
Julia Cameron.
So yeah, it was
Julia
just
Cameron, a wonderful human being.
there's a part in it about she talks about jealousy and like jealousy of other creatives, and like when you see somebody like achieve something or kind of get something that you aspire to, that you're the reaction to be like, oh, now I can't have that, like, because they got it. It's like, no, there's enough for everybody. Like it's infinite. Like you can't think of the universe as only giving out so much, because there's no end to it.
It's
Well,
true.
what people
Infinite.
forget is when somebody does something good, that makes it better for all of us. And when I was the first composer in residence with the New York Philharmonic, I was going to get a job as a bartender in 1966 because I could make more money than I could doing anything else, and I have time to compose my music and play jazz, both of which are in the low socioeconomic paycheck level. But instead, I was made the composer in residence with the Philharmonic. I said, wow. And I was astounded at the pathological jealousy that all these people had of Leonard Bernstein. And they figured I would feel that way too. So as I was sitting in my little room, they unloaded on me. I said, forget about it. Then I worked with Wynton Marsalis. I met him in New Orleans when he was in high school. He was so fantastic. And suddenly he won the Grammy in classical and jazz and was doing all this stuff. People started complaining. I said, man, if I could play the French horn as well as he played the trumpet, I'd be stuck up. So I would recommend to you, if you resent him, go home and practice.
Right.
And what people don't realize is whoever gets out there, especially if they're doing something terrifically well, that makes it better for all of us. And our job is to do that too. And when you understand that, then if you feel an attack of jealousy, rage, and competition coming on, you can quell that. Just as we learn to quell certain unattractive things that we might do with other people, say, well, hold it, wait a minute. So in a certain sense, that's a lesson we can learn. So if we see people acting in a disgusting way, that's only the great Creator showing us that ain't cool, and someone's done it for you, and you can be on the receiving end to see what a drag that is and how nice it is to be people who control that and think another way. And if you do that enough, you can find an enormous number of people that are a joy to be with that make you feel better, and you can do better yourself. But that's a choice you have to make. So when you're told, if I always tell kids, the only thing worse in our society than total obscurity, which we've all experienced, is recognition, because then you're told, now it's time to move to the next level, which means give up your friends, give up your family, give up your heritage, give up everything, and enter into someone else's personal cesspool until your sales go down. And then you're abandoned from that cesspool, and you really got nothing because your family and your friends say, oh man, another lost soul, and you're just out there with nothing. So the main thing is just to somehow keep it together and be around people who you love, that love you unconditionally, and keep it for real. And then you can have a life that way. Otherwise, if you're in that nasty, rotten thing long enough, that becomes natural and normal. So the best thing is to do what the people that organize crime always endorse, which is always sleep with one eye open.
Yeah. Hey, David, I have a question for you, and then I'd love to open it up and see if any of our guests on Zoom have a question for you. But Leonard Bernstein was a huge influence on me. I mean, not only do I love West Side Story and his music from Candide, but my mother and my father, particularly my mother, made me sit down as a kid when I wanted to go out and play ball out in the alley, made me sit down and watch the Leonard Bernstein Young People's concerts. And they were so influential and so wonderful. And I'm wondering, what was your experience with Bernstein? I mean, talk about one of the giants of American music, and the fact that you not only rubbed shoulders with him, but had some sort of interaction. Could you share a little bit of that?
Well, I found most of the time people were always hustling him to the point that he, I think, surmised that, maybe they'd like to pay attention to what I'm doing and some of the music that I'm doing. So I think when he saw that I was appreciative, I mean, how could you not be appreciative of what he did? After a while, I think he got the glimmer that I was actually interested in what he was doing. So he would sit. Remember one time he did this incredible concert. He said, how did you like it? And I said, man, it was incredible. He said, the first movement of the Mahler. Did you like the beginning? I said, it was just killer. He said, no, it wasn't. He said, the cello, plural for cello, came in late, and it was my fault. Bam. He said, didn't you notice that? I said, no, man, I thought it was beautiful. He said, well, I did. And he said, let me tell you, if you're ever conducting, if you make a terrible mistake, you'll never make it again if you remember it. He was so particular about everything that he did, and he loved it so much, and he was such an amazing person. And when I was in the green room, and most of the people would be the Achtung, you Schwein, there is the dictator, emperor, and you need 12 bodyguards, a career counselor, and a bulletproof vest to even get close. He would let the green room door open, and anybody could walk in. So a man came in and he said, "Mr. Bernstein, my uncle plays the trombone." And I saw the manager of the Philharmonic look over at me and say, "My God, get that uncouth Brooklyn thug out of here. He's going to destroy. If anybody comes by, there's a patron, they'll want to support the ballet instead." Bernstein, in his pontifical voice, said, "I love the trombone." And then he went into a whole 5-minute lecture about the Russian Easter Overture and the Rakovsky March and all the famous trombone and Ravel's Bolero, all the famous hot trombone solos. The guy felt so great because for 5 minutes Leonard Bernstein was endorsing his uncle's love of the trombone. And the thing with Bernstein was he wanted the whole world to fall in love with music. And he was responsible for a lot of that happening. And he was also a fantastic composer. Mm-hmm. And I was told, whatever you do, never mention West Side Story. I said, man, that killed me. I was 1957. I heard that. My aunt took me. I'd never experienced anything like that in my life. He said, well, people think because he wrote a hit Broadway musical, he wasn't really a great classical composer or conductor or anything. He was just a Broadway man.
And you
So
know what?
I never dared mention it. Then the television program, about 15 years after I'd been composer in residence, PBS did a whole show that he conducted with opera singers that could hit all the right notes and a killer freelance orchestra. They could play all that stuff that he wrote. And they had a huge reception. And I went and I stood in line and he said, "David, I haven't seen you in years. Did you see the show?" I said, "Whoop, I better not mention." I said, I knew what he meant. I said, "What show?" He said, "On PBS." I said, "What was that?" And he said, "West Side." And I said, "Yes." And he said, "How did you like it?" I said, "Man, I thought it was incredible." And he said, "I was wrong all those years. It was marvelous." So finally, he got to appreciate how terrific he was after all those years. And now the whole world appreciates, and they realize what a fantastic composer he was. And those children's concerts, they educate all the old folks, including me, about what music is about. He was something else, just terrific.
Well, he would really, I mean, it really helped me a lot in my early musical development. He would explain stuff. I mean, he would go into symphonies and take a theme like a Beethoven theme and show exactly how it was stated and then developed and recapitulated, and really brilliant stuff. I was just going to say that I remember reading that he was pretty much slammed, that he wasn't that his symphonies were, that he was copying from Aaron Copland and from different people. And it's really a shame because, you listen to, actually, Alice and I actually watched West Side Story, the movie, and just listening to the music. I mean, it's so incredible. I mean, yeah, there are hits, there are beautiful melodies, but it's some deep stuff. And
oh boy,
the fact that you knew him is pretty incredible.
Yeah. And also Candide and the
Love
Jeremiah Symphony and West Side Story and Khalil, a piece, and the Chester Psalms. Man, he wrote some great stuff. And now all those pieces are being played. And finally, even the mighty New York Times, when he came back before he died, he was the conductor of the orchestra in Vienna. And they said, Leonard Bernstein is finally matured. Man, I heard him when I was a teenager, and he was a killer conductor way back then as a young guy. He was always terrific. And I think the fact that he made people enjoy music so much without dumbing it down, people didn't know how to handle that. But he did, because he kept doing it. And he got more bad reviews for the great stuff that he did. And all those people who wrote the bad reviews had to support their families, and we have freedom of expression. And the First Amendment allows anybody to be an ill-informed schmuck. However, A thing of beauty is a joy forever, and now we can hear his music. And he was a great composer as well as a great musician and a great pianist, a great conductor, a great speaker. I said, people never said Leonardo da Vinci was bipolar or a jack of all trades or had a multiple personality disorder. He was a very gifted man in many areas, and we can be grateful to Lawrence Masson. Very briefly,
David, if you don't mind, I would love to open the conversation up to have some questions from our audience, because I know that they would probably enjoy that, because they have so many questions for you and maybe that will lead us down another interesting road. So I'm wondering if anybody's got one. I saw John Jacob. Do you have one? I saw your little hand there quickly, John. Would you unmute yourself and ask your question? You have grown a beard, John Jacob.
Where is John? Oh, there he is.
I thought he was
I know.
Santa Claus.
I had to have
Karen.
something to do in my spare time, so
It looks
eventually
great.
Oh,
It took me a second to figure out who you were, though.
can you hear me now?
Yes.
I certainly can.
So, David, it's been a long time. I interviewed you with. I was doing a film on Jim Kweskin and was asking about Maria. We met in your room to do that one time. That was my first meeting with you, and it's a joy seeing you every time. Like Freebo, I've seen you many times at Folk Alliance. But I wanted to make a suggestion between you and Freebo. You play French horn, and my first experience with Freebo was playing tuba on a thing I was recording. And I would love to see you two at it with those
Me too.
Oh my God, I'd have to practice.
Hey, it comes back easily.
That's a great idea.
thank you.
A bucket list thing, David.
Well, thanks for coming,
you, John.
Karen and John. It's so nice
It's good to
see
see you
both.
again, too, Ben.
Wouldn't have missed it.
Oh, hey, that's great.
And aren't they both terrific when they play together? It's just so heartwarming.
Oh, thank you. Man.
Refreshing, absolutely.
Who, us?
It's good hearing some of your stuff too. Your jazz background, especially. Now, jazz, it's interesting because the one negative of being a classical musician is your impetus is to the conductor. Your mind is on the conductor. You don't have any way to go except with the conductor. And it's a mindset that's very strict if you're in that genre. But when you start doing jazz, and there are a lot of musicians I know that Jeff Solo, for example, he was a student of Pedagorsky. A lot of people have, there's quartets now that are doing jazz, but they come from a classical background. And I think that breadth of intricacy with the music, with changing and like silly putty with music is just, it's another dimension that it sort of takes it away from a Bernstein because they're the conductor. But
Well, Bernstein experienced and loved that music, and basically it's all chamber music, which means Leopold Stokowski used to say, David Madison, his assistant concertmaster, said, no, he said, he makes you want to play, he stays out of the way, he's there when you need him, and he listens. He used to say to the orchestra, Marcel Tabito was the king oboe player. Everybody studied with him, piano players, opera singers, phrasing. He was like Mr. Phraseology. Tabito used to say, gentlemen, because there were no women in the orchestra except for the one cellist then. He said, gentlemen, listen to Mr. Tabito and play it like him. In other words, you were supposed to listen and be part of the music. And he would stay out of the way, and then he would make you feel like playing. And when you really needed something, he would lay it out. And Kazan told me, Jack Garfine, before he passed away, was the only director at the Lincoln Center Theater, said Elia Kazan told him in the elevator, our job as directors is to be guides to the actors. I said, wow, the discipline's already there. And in the old orchestras, the conductors, Furt Wangler and those people, the guys told me when I was in the army in Europe, the old German people who were there and those orchestras and those who came over here as refugees said they used to go out to dinner and the first oboe, first flute, first clarinet, concertmaster, first chair people would all go out and eat. They discuss how the music was supposed to be, and then they would said, go back and tell all the people in your section about that. And they would make a plan where everybody was honoring the music, and it was creative. So one of the biggest gigs for the conductor, that's why Duhamel is so great, the young guy in Los Angeles. He's making, you could see everybody's playing up a storm, and they're enjoying it because he loves the music, and he wants the people who are playing it to feel good about it.
Arthur Fiedler. I want to say something to
John,
Alice very brief.
John, let me bring somebody else in to ask a question, just to be egalitarian.
No, that's fine.
Does anybody else have a question at this point in time?
Raise your hand.
For David, or for me, or for Freebo?
Storm.
Yes, who is this? Storm. Hi, Storm. You have a wonderful beard.
Thanks.
Welcome.
We've seen each other in Greenfield, Mass.
Oh.
Amherst
Nice
co-housing.
Oh, that's right. That was such a great gig.
Yes.
Do you remember that show, Freebo? The show at the Amherst co-housing? I can't remember the name of your friend who set it up. But
Yes.
That was
And
Rob.
Rob, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, we had a piano player playing with us, right? JT.
Yeah.
That's right. JT was there. Oh my gosh. Well, thanks
Glad you were there
coming.
for that. How you doing,
Yeah.
Storm?
I'm doing all right. I'd like to hear sort of some of the other side. You talked about a classical person who was great and you had a chance to interact with a lot. I know that you interacted with Pete Seeger, and today is the anniversary of his death, and I'd love to hear some stories from that side of your life.
Great question.
And I also, interestingly enough, wrote a poem in 2007 called Mirrored Man, and if there's a appropriate time, I'd love to share it.
Mm-hmm. Please do.
Do it now?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, it sparks some of the same themes as he brought up, and the one that he just created. It's called Mirrored Man. Who are you? Do I know you? Have I ever seen this man looking so old, so worn, with eyes so sad? What caused you such deep pain, your hair turned most white and brittle? Does that young man who used to smile back, at least occasionally, still know I care, even as I brush away these falling tears with an aching heart and shaking spotted hands?
Wow. That is beautiful.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing that.
That's a great segue to David's.
I was with Pete about 3 hours before he passed away. John Allen, a neighbor of ours, took me over, and two great musicians were there with him, and
Pat and Sandy, right?
we were in the hospital, and we played, and I felt bad. I was just trying to cool it, but I figured, well, maybe I didn't want them to think I was barging in there. I said, no, the family wants you to come. So we started playing, and he started tapping his foot. And I said, wow, it was just so nice. And we went back, got driven back to the farm where I was living, and I said to John Allen, my neighbor, I said, boy, I'd like to, love to. Guy Davis Jr. played, and I said, I'd love to go back tomorrow and play some more. Then a half hour later, John Cohen, a neighbor who knew Pete and married Pete's sister at one point, or daughter, no, sister, I beg your pardon, said he just passed away. I said, man, we were just there 2 hours ago. He said, no, he's gone. And I met him in 1948 when he was playing at a Henry Wallace rally, and knowing him all those years, he and his wife Toshi were such fantastic people, and they left us so much. And he was a Mayflower descendant, which he told me. I was shocked. And he said, no, he said, the native people who greeted us were so polite and gracious, and what we did to them was atrocious. But he said, feeling guilty is a waste of time and a self-indulgence, but doing something for other people who've come here after you came and showing that same hospitality and civilization that the American Indian people showed us, that's a big thing. And he was that way about everything. He somehow took the high road, the larger high road, and wanted all of us to get on that. I never heard him badmouth anybody or call anybody a name. He didn't judge people by their location or education or pigmentation, any of that stuff. He was just real, as they say, a real mensch, a real down-to-earth human being who was a Mayflower descendant, so he was every social climber's dream of the kind of person they wish they could be. But he was a real true person who came over. He said, our people came over here because we protested where we were and we wanted a better life for everyone. And that's what he gave us all. And a lot of us now are the recipients of that spirit that he had.
Yeah, he crisscrossed my life a lot. My father taught at Woodstock Country School where his kids went. So my first concert was with him. And then as a teenager, I spent a month as a volunteer in the Hudson River Sloop Restoration Office. And my first political protest was standing beside him. And I crewed on the Clearwater for a week and went to 8 concerts in 7 days. And then I was one of the founders of the People's Music Network for Songs of Freedom and Struggle. So.
Wow.
Great.
Keep up your
Thanks
good
for
work, because,
sharing.
man, we need it.
Yeah.
Amen.
That's
Yeah.
great. Thank you,
Thanks
Storm.
for sharing.
Anybody else have
Yeah.
have a question for David or
I
for
see
Alice or myself?
somebody's waving. John and Max, I see you waving. Hi. Welcome.
Are you muted?
Hi, everybody. Yep,
Hey,
we're
how you
unmuted.
doing?
Hey,
How you
David,
doing?
and Alice and Freebo, and
Hi.
we just happen to be sitting here, and over our head is a photograph of Pete's banjo.
Oh.
And David, first time we met you, you were playing with Pete, and it was about 15, 16 years ago. And so it's taken till COVID for the first year since then that we haven't run into each other at least a couple of times. So it's really good to see you anyways and hear you again.
Oh, it's good to see you both. And we're still here, which is a good sign.
Yeah.
And I think if they get enough vaccines out there, they're never going to get rid of us. They can't stomp us out.
Sounds like a plan.
Did
And
you
you
guys
both
have a
look
question,
terrific
or
and
you
happy,
just
which is
wanna
kind
say
of nice.
hi?
Yeah. I guess one question, post-COVID, when we're all healthy and safe again, any plans to perform with your 2 girls and you and Adam?
As soon as I get the chance, we're already doing that whenever we can. They have since they were little, and now that they're grown up, they even let me play with them. And my biggest thrill is when I go to someplace where they have their gig, and they point me out, their young friends, say, "That's Adam's father. That's a dearest father. That's Adam's father." That's better than a front page New York Times review or anything. That's the real deal. And I'm so proud of my kids because they're not spoiled brats, and they're polite to everybody. They play with and for anybody, and they're just wonderful, beautiful people. I'm a lucky guy that they had such a good mother, and they were around such nice people of every genre at every walk of life that they grew up themselves. And people said, "You raised them right." I said, "Man, I didn't do anything except try to get them to say please and thank you and brush their teeth, finish school, and show respect for other people, and then stay out of the way." And that's what I meant to say when we were speaking to Mr. earlier about symphony music. If everybody could get a chance to hang out in that environment, they would have a lot of problems solved, because people can show you how to be gracious. That's why it's so nice to play in the folk music world as well as all the other worlds. It's all one world, really.
Yeah.
And it's all just people. So people in different genres who are put in a certain slot, like I call it the penitentiary of bad taste, where you're assigned a cell block. You're not supposed to speak to the other prisoners. Well, if you're in the penitentiary of bad taste and you can hang out with all the other prisoners, they can show you a lot of stuff too. And then when you finally get probation or get paroled, you don't have to allow yourself to be imprisoned by someone else's idea of what you almost could have been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, David, you and I, well, you and I were talking on the phone, I guess yesterday, the day before, and just chatting as we do, and we both came to the conclusion, and again, you just confirmed what I've always felt, that in playing with another person or other people, ensemble playing, it's all about listening. That if you know your instrument at all and you're listening to everybody else, you will intuitively know what to play. You won't get in the way. You'll know when to play. You'll know when to lay out. You know when to support. You know when to
you don't
lead.
even know it's happening. You just know to not step on anybody because you're listening.
Exactly.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to mention our coffee winner before I forget again, because I forget every 3 minutes.
It's that old people rubbing off on you.
I know. I gotta hang out with a
and
new
you're about
crowd.
to turn 30, so you know.
Oh my God.
Look
Gotta
out.
wear glasses and everything. It's really going downhill. Okay, coffee. We had somebody who guessed 100, actually, very sneaky. Joyce, you are on the Zoom call. Joyce, you are the winner
There's
of
Joyce.
the
I
coffee.
see
The
her
number
there.
I chose was 90, so she was the closest. Yay, Joyce. I chose 90 because of David. I know that's obvious. I don't always choose people's ages, but
It was appropriate
it
today.
was thinking,
You definitely seem to have a pattern, though.
Well,
I think somebody's picked up on it.
I'm never gonna do that again. Yeah. Well, so Joyce, get in touch with me. Actually, why don't you just put your email in the chat here on Zoom, and I'll shoot you a message. Okay. So, should we have a little more music before we close
Sure.
out?
Anybody have a request? Joyce has a request.
You have a request?
No,
Oh,
I have a
you bet.
question. Hey, David.
Okay.
Hi, David. Hi, it's Joyce. Hi, I just wanted to ask you, this is something I've always wanted to ask you, and I always forget to ask you, and that is, how did you name your children all with first and middle names starting with A? Why?
Because my name was mispronounced my whole life. They said Don Adams, Dick Andrews, Frank Arnrunes. I said, well, if they can't pronounce Amram, if they had Hebrew names, then they wouldn't have to see a psychiatrist to say, what was your ethnic background? Secondly, if they couldn't pronounce their names, and all their names were A, Alana Asha Amram, Adira Aliza Amram, and Adam Aaron Amram, they could just say, A! And they would definitely know who they were speaking to.
That is great.
So I thought I'd bring it back to the nitty-gritty, looking for the tonic, or when you're trying to learn some music and they're playing 13/7, you say, whoa, where is the one? Where is the one? What's the scale? Dick and Jane run, spot, run. Just bring it back to the nitty-gritty. So I figured, okay, names, A. So they were all nice names. And now the kids actually enjoy their names, and people could even say their names right, because if they don't get the first one right, they can get the middle name right, and then they could even get the last name right.
David, do they get free membership to AAA?
Not yet.
or are they lifetime members of Alcoholics Anonymous?
Not yet. No. But
Hey,
they're young.
We had a request from my friend Joey, and hey Joey, it's nice to see you, and thanks for, I saw that you bought a t-shirt today. Thank you for that. I'm excited to send you that. He requested Angel from Montgomery, and that's one that Freebo and I just love to do, and it looks like Maddie K seconded that request. Nice to see you, Maddie. Thanks for being such a supporter of our show. It's amazing to finally all be in a place where we
Yeah,
can
to see everybody.
see these mystery people.
Thanks for joining us, and thanks for supporting us. As you do along the way, and And the support really is just being there for us and with us for the music, and just letting us know that maybe what we're doing has some meaning and touches you. I mean, that means the world to us, really does.
Yeah, it does. And thanks so much to everyone who sent in a tip tonight. We really appreciate it. So here's probably heard you tell the story about this, although you could tell the story again if you want.
Well, it's a simple story. I mean, I was with Bonnie when we first heard this song, when we just heard John Prine do it. It was probably, it might have been at the Cellar Door. We did a gig a whole week with him, opening for him in Washington, D.C. in '71. And Bonnie, those first 3 years she and I were together, we were a duo, and Bonnie would say, here's a song I'd like to do, and she'd play it, and we'd work out an arrangement. And sometimes I would help change a chord or two. I feel really good about that. Never tell her how to sing, that's for sure. And but this is one of the songs that we came up with the arrangement together, and this arrangement found its way onto the record, and I've since recorded this song. I'm actually going to release it real soon, and then Alice and I started doing it. So as I like to say, this is our arrangement of my arrangement of Bonnie's and my arrangement of John Prine's song. And thank you for the request, Angel from Montgomery. I am an old woman named after my mother. My old man is another. Child has grown old. If dreams were thunder and lightning was desire, this old house would have burned down such a long time ago. Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rodeo. Just giving me one thing that I can hold on to. To believe in this living is just a hard way to go. When I was a young girl, I had me a cowboy. He weren't much to look at, just a free rambling man. But that was a long time ago. No matter how I tried, the years they just flow by like a broken down dam. Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rodeo. Just giving me one thing that I can hold on to believe in this living is just a hard way to go. There's flies in the kitchen, I hear 'em all buzzing, and I ain't done nothing since I woke up today. How the hell can a person go to work in the morning and come home in the evening and have nothing to say? Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old
this living is just a hard way to go. To believe in this living is just a hard way to go.
Oh, yes, it is.
Boy.
That was so pretty. Yes.
That's so great to hear applause.
I know. Our egos are starved
Oh,
of
yeah.
applause.
Can't help it. We're human.
Well, we've got a couple more minutes here. Do you want to have David do anything else? David, would you be interested
something
in
you'd like
taking
to
us
play or
out?
share?
Share a little more music before we say goodnight?
This could be an appropriate good night song. That was just so beautiful. That was worth getting up this morning and staying up tonight to do that. Holy cow, was that gorgeous. I hope they're
Thank you.
recording that. I'd like to get a copy of that and play it.
Oh, we can do that. We can do
Medicine,
that for you.
vitamins for the soul.
Yes, it is.
Variations for all of you. Thank you for inviting Alice and also the wonderful Freebo and the amazing engineer who made it possible, Mr. Ocala, to make it possible to be here and all of you. And let's all support all the good music, all the young musicians coming up, all the old musicians still here, and everybody in between, and hang out together. And it's just been a joy to be with you and an honor to be part of your program. I'm going to tune in next week and listen.
Well, I'll tell you, thank you, David. And next week we have another, a rock luminary. How many people remember Brian Auger in the Oblivion Express?
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you remember Brian Auger in the Oblivion Express. Brian Auger, Julie Driscoll in the Trinity. An amazing B3 player. And he too is no spring chicken. I think Brian is 80, 81, 82. He and I played in a band called the Blues Busters for a couple of years, and he was quite an inspiration. Again, a very erudite fellow, a great keyboard player, a very funny guy, lots of great stories. And a couple of weeks we have Amy Speece going to be with us, a wonderful, wonderful singer. I made a call to Wendy Waldman.
We've got Antje Duvakot coming up.
Antje Duvakot.
We've got some really talented ladies coming up, and I'm
sure
happy
do.
about that. And
not all guys here.
I know.
We try and go 50-50, right, Alice?
It all evens out, I think.
Yeah, try and do that. And Wendy Waldman's going to be with us. So again, keep tuning in. Tell your friends, and if you know anybody in Asheville, we have this thing. We're being rebroadcast every Tuesday night in a little radio station in Asheville, North Carolina.
Yep.
And we're hoping we can get a few more Pacifica stations to pick it up. So that's kind of exciting.
It is. It's nice to know we're using all possible outlets to share this show with you all. So thank you for being here. Come back on Friday if you want some more music from me and from Freebo. I'm doing my birthday show.
Support Alice for her birthday.
On Friday evening, starting at 5 p.m. Pacific. So that'd be great to see you all there. I know some of you are already planning on coming. So thank you. Thank you all. Thanks for your support. We're so grateful for you. Thank you, David Amram.
David, you're a national treasure. Really. Thank you so much for gracing us.
All right.
Well, I thank both of you, and just a joy. I can hardly wait till we can all get together and hang out, because I was listening to all the parts. I'd love to play with you, just hearing you. And that song of John Prine, holy cow, is that ever beautiful. And your songs too, Allison, and what you sang, Freebo, about the dog, all part of the great repertoire that will be here when we're gone, because a thing of beauty is a joy forever. And later, with everything else, that's the part of the poem they cut out of Keats.
Thanks, David.
Thank you,
Pleasure
Brandon,
to spend the
for all
evening
your
with
help.
You all. Bye bye.
Thank you all for
See
joining
you next
us.
week.
Good
Thanks
night.
for
Be
coming to
safe,
the after
everybody.
party.